Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy Zai. You already know what time it is, man. But before I even get into what I want to get into, like I always say, shout out to the homie Too Grimy for radio, Too Grimy for TV. Shout out to Too Grimy, period. The homie West. Shout out to you. Shout out to anybody I really rock with solid. And I'm not talking about the people that are kind of like on and off, but the ones that's really here solid, always watching my videos and just like, and even if you can't watch my videos all the time, I really don't particularly have any problem with that. Like I said, after a while, people, you're there 1 minute and then you're not, and then you might be able to revisit that sense of nostalgia later on. But for the most part, people tend to go on about their business or they found another channel. But that's not what I want to get into. Like I like to say, and this is not a disclaimer, but I just like to say respectfully that I try not to get involved in business that doesn't pertain to us or anything that has to do with another faction, another car, because those are just the rules of engagement, and there's always been certain things set up in place to where it prevents certain issues from starting just due to the fact that you get involved in other people's business that may not necessarily have to do with your car, not only in jail but on the street as well. It just made things a lot safer as far as like, because you might say something that might get you in some drama, I guess. But let me refrain from even going down that road, because I'm going to say what I want to say at the end of the day, but it's just respectfully I like to say that. And I tend to stray from, going that way. But what I really want to get into is this dude, Luce Cannon BRICC. I'm not going to get into Big U because for the most part, I already know certain reputations and there's nothing I can really say about a G. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? We all get busted and fight certain cases, especially when you're really out there doing what you do. But it comes with the territory, and I say it all the time. That's why I tell people try to refrain from even going that route. If you could just go ahead and get a job and handle your business, I would tell you to avoid certain situations, because this is where they end up. You figure, I'll just say this about Big U. After all that time of being out of jail and doing the things that he was accredited with as far as starting different programs, now he's probably going to sit in jail for the rest of his life. And once you get a certain age, that life is the life expectancy shortens by a lot, because different ailments, your body's not conditioned to face the same things you faced when you were younger. But that's all I'm gonna say about Big U. Hopefully he raised up out his case. I don't know his situations, all the accusations that was against him, whether negative or whatever. I don't entertain that because it has nothing to do with me. I'm not for 60s. I'm not a crib. So that's on them, whatever. Now, the whole thing I speak about Luce Cannon because Luce Cannon had made a comment on Haters World talking about, he was just basically reiterating and mirroring what Whack 100 was saying when they said that all Mexicans have the right to snitch on blacks or any other race, which was a lie. It's been debunked multiple times, but people like to use that narrative because it makes them feel safe. To be honest, a lot of you dudes that say that only use that because you want to turn everybody's angst against certain cars, but it don't even matter, because we've been able to repel absolutely everything. This is just what it is. Like it's a reason why it is, and the structure is set the way it's set. So when Luce Cannon said that, kind of like, oh, he wanted to go down this way, but I try not to even entertain it. I say, you know what, man, I'm not even gonna comment on it, because I tend to go on that mode of want to crash out, whether it's verbally, physically, whatever, off disrespect to something that I've been representing pretty much my whole life. But when you get to a certain age, you can't just be going at everybody, because it just ain't gonna make sense. And then plus, I didn't really take him too seriously. Pobrecito, he seems kind of like slow, so I'm like, you know what, I don't even want to go that route. But due to the fact that I just heard something today, a conversation that he was having in prison, and it's not in prison but in jail, and basically what people probably don't realize is he was constantly directing the blame towards Big U without really saying it. A couple of times he did say it, like, well, he did try to say free Big U, and I give him that, but for the most part he's like, yeah, other people not taking responsibility for the things that they were doing, so it in turn involved him. But I'm gonna tell you the whole reason Luce Cannon is in the situation that he is right now. For one, his mouth is big as hell. For two, he was trying to be super tough for the internet, which you don't have to, because the internet, you don't owe the internet absolutely nothing. The whole goal of it, of getting on the internet, is to get your bag. But these dudes could not get their bag without snitching on their own homeboy. And I say snitching because if you sit down and you tell somebody different crimes that your homeboy's been involved in, whether you've been involved in it or not, it's one thing to self-criminate, and it's another to get on social media and tell them that your homeboy has something to do with getting another one of your homeboys removed. And then the thing that I found comical about that is because when he mentioned Nipsey Hussle and the fact that allegedly Big U contacted him and told him that Nipsey is gone, and he called Nip and Nip wasn't gone. For one, why would you, whatever, but he called Nip and found out Nip was still alive, and instead of warning him, saying that that's supposedly his brother-in-law, he did absolutely nothing. He allowed dude to lose his life, and in turn on social media basically said that this dude had prior knowledge of this dude's unaliving. And then with all the other stuff that's in the internet, as far as like them saying Big U was, allegedly hating on Nip and had things against Nip and was actively looking to have something happen to Nip. Like, why would you go? Like, it's like this fool 600. He said it's something. No, it's corroborating. All you dudes did was corroborate what other people either said or what the feds are already thinking. So whether people try to dance around the situation or not, it's snitching. It's dry snitching. It's snitching. But this not even dry snitching. This is outright snitching. Like, you literally got on social media and said your homeboy has something to do with unaliving another one of your homeboys. You were dealing with, and that's why I tell fool, you keep dealing with this dude Whack 100, you're gonna get washed. And look at, you got another one. You got BRICC Baby. BRICC Baby. I lost respect for. I never really had respect for him because I didn't know him, and he's not my homeboy. He's not. He don't run the S. But when he got online to say that he had allegedly took a pee from one of the homies, and I'm not even say which homie, but he allegedly took a pee from a homie and basically telling him to come get that back. For one, you're snitching because you're telling on social media that you took a pound from one of the homies and you're not gonna pay him. And it's not just self-incrimination that you went out and was gonna purchase the pee, but you took it from somebody. So you're saying that they're selling you know what I'm saying, like you're saying that they're selling marijuana, and if my memory permits me, supposedly the homie has a record. So you're not only incriminating yourself for being a thief, you're and a robber, you're incriminating the homie for actually being the one that was possessing the drugs in the first place. See, so that's why I say, like, all these dudes that be on social media, there's a lot of dudes solid. Nate Dogg 916, solid dude. Did a gang of time, did a gang of whatever, but for the most part, it's stuff that had to do with him. And then he's out there handling his business. He's really putting in that family work. He's really putting in that work. So I respect dudes like that. And dude, that's the homie. So shout out to Nate Dogg 916. You should go check him out. Real Damu, you know what I mean? And then you got Ad Jefe. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'll be watching his videos because it's a trip, the way he covers things, and he never really gets too into detail or anything. And most of it is just regurgitated stuff that's already transpired. So he's not one of those that feels the need to really go out there and try to throw all this extra stuff in order to get people to go to his channel. People are gravitating to his channel because dude has good commentary, a good view and outlook on stuff, and he can rap. You know what I mean? And plus he a G. So people follow that. Now, you got other YouTubers that I'm not even get to that be representing solid. They don't get too much into, they don't speak about certain things because they know that there's rules and there's a code of conduct to all this. But when it comes to BRICC and Luce Cannon, BRICC off the back, come on, dude, like, you already, the dudes that you know that's about it, they don't really have to do too much. Like, he was doing extras. Like when he said on the podcast that he got more bodies than, and people could say, oh, he used it for content. But if you're known for saying certain things that are adding up to something, as far as like all these little things that's in this indictment, you would think that he would refrain from doing anything of that nature. But I'm gonna tell you straight out, from what it's looking like, dude is gonna get washed. Luce Cannon is trying his best to backpedal now. Now he's giving words of advice to the youth on certain things to avoid, but yet he's constantly placing blame on other people outside of himself. He tried to distance himself from the fact that he made comments on social media, a platform that got millions of viewers, that his homie was not only involved in multiple crimes, that he was involved in multiple crimes with his homeboy, and that his homie has something allegedly to do with the unaliving of a famous rapper. Like, it's all this that comes into play, and this is the thing that I find the most comic, because out of all the people that tend to say the homies had the right to do this, the homies had the right and there ain't no consequences, we all know that that's fabrication. You use that because there's a lot of you that I seen full personally. Like, a lot of you fools getting out saying you were doing this, I seen you personally in prison, and you weren't doing that, and you weren't on that type of time. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of you line up against the gate while fools are getting poked up, trying to get up out of it, leaving your homeboy to get stumped out. Like, I've seen that personally, so I already know a lot of that is fabrication. And for the ones that's really been through the thunder, they know it ain't even worth going to the thunder if you don't have to. Plain and simple. The ones that like to glorify, oh, hey, I was in this riot, I was doing it, dude. We know that it's a give and take. Like, I don't care how deep you are, how big you are, it don't matter, dude. Because Luce, like, I've seen fools big as hell get their throat lit, you know, and dudes getting unalived them because they took for granted they weren't on their toes, they weren't moving, they didn't have no wind, they weren't doing it happens. No matter how deep you are, how gangster you are, like, you can lose yours. It happens. Like, and you're not always going to be in a situation to where you got people watching you, or if they are, they're at a distance. So if a fool get up on you right here, blah, 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 and bust on you, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no guns in jail. It's this and this, you know what I mean? And whatever makeshift weapons you can get. But let's not even get into that. All I'm saying is everything that these dudes did, it got consequences. If BRICC Baby think, and I'm not even going to put it out there like that, but if certain dudes think that they can go to jail and that there's not going to be any consequence for prior statements, these dudes, like I'm gonna just say this because I'm not a prophet, but to see that these dudes would disrespect their OG and think that there'd be no consequence, regardless of how many fools they thought they had on their side, there's always gonna be youngsters that looked up to certain dudes, and they're gonna want to get theirs. It's a reputation thing. So don't be surprised when you hear that these fools eventually get blasted. Maybe they start off in a spot where it's simple. You know, for us, you hit reception and it's all bad. You got anything that they know on you, it's up. Like, but you know, but that's all I really want to say on that. Luce Cannon, dude, big mouth, dude, got a hot girl for you. That's crazy. But you got a hot girl, dude, and you still wanted to be on the internet popping it. I don't get this. Is one thing. This is a cautionary tale, like I continuously say to everybody. When you start getting the money, dude, the streets should be the past. It should be the past, dog. Like right now, dog, I'm not even getting it like that. I got two regular jobs, dude, and I got this little YouTube thing. So I don't even go into my hood like that no more. Like, and it's not even that I'm scared of anything. Like, it's just I know the consequences. It only takes but a second for the situation to turn bad. I know I got enemies. You know what I mean? Allegedly got ops. You can't be my op if you never did it. But we're just to play it, you know, into the media. Yeah, ops, opposition. I don't see nobody really as my opposition outside of what I say in my raps. I don't see nobody as my opposition because you're not going to deter me from doing what I need to do. I'm going to take care of my business. I'm going to handle my family, and I'm going to try to put us in the best position possible. But and this is a prime example, and I'm gonna say this before I end the video. Anybody that has got on social media and said the homies are allowed to tell on anybody, you're not only a bald face side, but this is just showing you exactly what it consists of, because you will never see a homie get on social media and talk about a murder or any unaliving that his homeboys did, regardless of whether he's involved in it or not. You ain't gonna never see that. Even the best athletes sometimes refrain from saying certain things, but you really not gonna see no stump down homie get on social media and be like, I did this, I did this. Some of them, even if the crime has already been prosecuted and they were the main antagonists in the, you know what I mean, in the villainy, they ain't gonna say nothing because we've already been not even let known, but it's growing up a certain way, dealing with certain things and learning certain things. There's just certain things that we don't do. So when people say that we're allowed to do it, you're a lie. And whatever reason your hood got took, don't say it because snitch. You just got it taken. It's just what it is. You can make up any fabrication you want, but any fool that got paperwork in jail that's a homie, I can guarantee you he out of here. You know what I'm saying? He out of here. But yeah, these dudes are getting washed. But just go watch. Go listen to Luce Cannon. In fact, go to Ann Hefe, because I like to look at his channel, Compton Rib Rock. I never met him. I like their content because they're real cool and laid back. They ain't trying to do too much. But you know what I'm saying? Like I look at their content because it tends to be like right on point. You know what I mean? I watch Bree Brazy too. Like, you know, it's ties that bind us, whatever. Not me and him, but just other things. But that's all I can say, you know what I mean? Yeah, these dudes are gonna get washed, dude. BRICC, you're gonna get washed. If you didn't get washed, you're probably gonna. We'll just leave that to the imagination. Luce Cannon, like I could see it, dude. Dude is shaking. If he don't fold, I'll be surprised. He's shaking, dude. Like, I don't even know you personally, but just everything that I've seen and the videos you put out and how loose lip you seem to be with it. Like, I don't even know why dudes would kick it around you, knowing that you talk absolutely too much, dog. Like, you are an indictment within itself, dude. And I wouldn't be surprised if you read the indictment and you the main protagonist on it, as far as like being vocal, and BRICC Baby just backed you up. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm your boy Zod, and I'm out.